When 11-year-old Lila Morven vanished on a sunny afternoon in May, her community was shattered. For 12 years, her disappearance remained a haunting mystery. But what happens when the truth was hiding in plain sight all along? Today we uncover the chilling story that will make you question every abandoned house in your neighborhood. If you find yourself captivated by forgotten mysteries finally coming to light, take a moment to like this video and subscribe for more in-depth true crime investigations. Maple Hollow was the quintessential American suburb, a place where children played freely without supervision and neighbors knew each other by name. The town prided itself on its safety record, with the local newspaper regularly celebrating years without serious crime. The community center hosted potlucks every third Sunday, and the elementary school boasted the highest reading scores in the county. It was, by all appearances, immune to the troubles that plagued larger cities. The Morven family moved to Maple Hollow when Lila was just 4 years old. Mireille, a botanical illustrator who worked from home, chose the location for its abundant green spaces and strong school district. As a single mother, she built her world around her daughter, creating a home filled with books, art, and imagination. Lila quickly became known throughout the neighborhood as the girl with endless questions. By age 11, she had developed a reputation for her insatiable curiosity. Her science teacher, Mr. Donovan, kept a special shelf of advanced books just for her. At home, Lila maintained a collection of specimens, interesting rocks, pressed flowers, and unusual insects, each meticulously labeled and cataloged. What concerned Mireille, though she never shared this with neighbors, was Lila's growing fascination with abandoned structures. It began innocently with an old tree house in the woods behind their home. Then came the shuttered convenience store at the edge of town. Mireille found sketches of these places in Lila's notebooks, along with questions about what might be hidden inside them. Every empty space has a story, Lila once told her mother. Someone just needs to find it. May 23rd began like any other Saturday in the Morven household. Mireille was preparing illustrations for a new botanical textbook, while Lila constructed a diorama of the solar system for her science class. Around noon, they shared sandwiches on the back porch, discussing plans for their upcoming summer vacation to the coast. At 1:37 p.m., a time Mireille would later recite to police with painful precision, Lila asked if she could ride her bike to the library to return some books. The weather was perfect, warm with a gentle breeze, and the library was only 15 minutes away on her sky-blue Schwinn. "Be back by 5 for dinner," Mireille reminded her, brushing a strand of hair from her daughter's forehead. "I'm making your favorite pasta." "I promise," Lila replied, securing her backpack straps. Those were the last words Mireille would hear from her daughter. Mrs. Abernathy, who lived 3 houses down, waved to Lila as she pedaled past her garden at approximately 1:45 p.m. The crossing guard at Maple and Elm, retired police officer Frank Whitaker, remembered helping her navigate the busy intersection around 2 p.m. Librarian Doris Keller confirmed that Lila returned her books at 2:17 p.m., but didn't stay to browse as she typically did. The final confirmed sighting came from 12-year-old twins Zach and Zoe Patterson, who spotted Lila turning onto the old access road that ran behind several properties, including the abandoned Wexler house. They thought nothing of it at the time. The road was a common shortcut for neighborhood kids. At 7:13 p.m., after hours of increasingly frantic searching, Officer Regina Torres found Lila's bicycle partially concealed in tall grass near the rear fence of the Wexler property. The front wheel was still spinning slowly, as if recently abandoned. But what no one realized was that Lila had made a fateful decision that would remain hidden for over a decade. The Victorian mansion on Blackwood Hill stood like a forgotten sentinel overlooking Millfield. Built in 1887 by lumber baron Augustus Wexler during the town's economic boom, the house passed through 4 generations of Wexlers before financial ruin forced the last heir to abandon it in 2010. Local whispers claimed the house was never meant to be empty. Children avoided it on Halloween, claiming they heard laughter from vacant rooms. Others reported lights flickering, though electricity had been disconnected years ago. For 12 years, nature reclaimed what man had built. Rain seeped through the slate roof, warping hardwood floors. Copper pipes were stripped by thieves, leaving gaping wounds in walls. When Mark and Eliza Duval purchased the property at auction for a fraction of its historical value, townspeople watched with curiosity and concern. The couple, flush with tech industry money and romantic notions of restoration, saw only potential beneath the decay. "We're bringing her back to life," Eliza told the local newspaper, her enthusiasm infectious as she detailed plans for historical accuracy and modern amenities. The Duvals had no idea that their dream renovation project was about to turn into a nightmare that would reopen wounds the entire town had tried to heal. The renovation crew began with structural assessment, documenting each cracked beam and water-damaged ceiling. Miguel Ortiz, the contractor, had restored dozens of historic homes, but something about the Wexler house made his skin prickle. "The bones are good," he assured the Duvals, "but this place has secrets." On the third day, demolition began in what had once been the kitchen. Javier and Tomas removed rotted cabinetry, revealing unusual spacing in the wall measurements. Tomas noticed at first the exterior dimensions didn't match the interior. "There's something behind here," he called out, tapping the plaster wall that shouldn't have been there. With careful precision, they cut through decades-old plaster, revealing a narrow crawl space. The beam of Javier's flashlight caught something metallic in the darkness, a child-sized tin lunchbox decorated with faded cartoon characters. Inside, a small pink hair clip with dry blood, a Polaroid photograph of a blonde girl, approximately 6 years old, sleeping, a hand-drawn map of Millfield with the Wexler house circled in red, a child's bracelet with the name Lily engraved on a silver heart charm. Javier dropped the box, his hands shaking. "Call the police," he whispered. "Now." Tomas stared at the items scattered across the dusty floor. "Lila Morven," he murmured. "The little girl who vanished 12 years ago." Miguel immediately halted all work and established a perimeter. As police sirens wailed in the distance, the crew stood in stunned silence, the weight of what they'd found settling over them like the house's shadow. What would you have thought if you were the one who found these items? Would you have connected them to the missing girl case? Detective Amara Chun stood in the crawl space, her flashlight illuminating dust particles dancing in the beam. 12 years ago, as a rookie officer, she'd helped search for Lila Morven. Now, as lead investigator, she faced the case that had haunted her career. Full documentation before anything moves, she instructed the forensic team. Every fiber, every fingerprint matters. The evidence recovery was meticulous. The lunchbox yielded partial prints that had survived the years. The crawlspace walls, examined under alternative light sources, revealed faint handprints too small to belong to an adult. Lab analysis confirmed what they feared. The blood on the hair clip matched Lila's DNA from the original case file. The Polaroid, dated by film type and processing marks, had been taken approximately 2 weeks before her disappearance. Most disturbing was the map. Forensic document analysis revealed it had been drawn by an adult hand, not a child's. Someone brought her here, Chun concluded during the briefing. Someone who knew this house intimately. When Chun and her partner arrived at the Morvens' home, Lila's parents recognized them immediately. 12 years had passed, but some faces you never forget. "We found something," Chun said gently. Mireille's hand flew to her mouth. "Is she?" "We don't know yet," Chun answered truthfully, "but we have her belongings." Robert Morven, gray now where he'd once been brown, studied the photographs of the recovered items. "The lunchbox," he whispered. "I bought it for her 6th birthday." As the Morvens identified each item, the investigation gained momentum. Former owners of the Wexler house were re-interviewed, property records scrutinized, construction permits examined. But the most chilling revelation was yet to come, one that would answer the 12-year question of what really happened to Lila. The basement window had been Lila's entry point, small, partially hidden by overgrown bushes and with a broken latch. Measurements confirmed a child her size could easily fit through. She was an explorer, Mireille explained, showing investigators Lila's collection of maps and treasure journals. She called herself an adventure detective. The final entry in Lila's school notebook, recovered from storage, read, "I found a real secret house. Go to look for hidden rooms tomorrow." A neighbor confirmed seeing Emma walking toward the abandoned Wexler house that afternoon. No one saw her return. Forensic reconstruction painted the tragic picture. Lila had entered through the basement, exploring the empty house. She discovered the loose wall panel in the kitchen, likely visible then, before years of humidity sealed it shut. Squeezing into the crawl space with her lunchbox of explorer tools, the panel somehow closed behind her. Evidence of her attempts to escape were found. Scratch marks on the inside wall, a broken fingernail embedded in the wood. The confined space, only 3 feet wide and 8 feet long, had become her tomb. Dr. Lydia Fernandez, child development specialist, explained, "Children this age are naturally curious about hidden spaces. Their sense of danger isn't fully developed, and the allure of discovery often overrides caution." The most heartbreaking evidence came from the lunchbox itself. Inside the lid, barely visible under ultraviolet light, help scratched with a hairpin. Lila hadn't been abducted. She hadn't run away. A childhood adventure had turned into tragedy when no one thought to search the supposedly empty house thoroughly enough. This revelation is heartbreaking. If you stayed with me this far, please subscribe to support more investigations into forgotten cases. The Morven family held a proper funeral 12 years after Lila disappeared. The white casket, child-sized and adorned with wildflowers, provided the closure they had desperately sought. "We always hoped she'd come home," Robert told mourners. Now she has. Millfield processed its collective guilt through action. The police department established new protocols for searching abandoned buildings. The school system implemented enhanced safety education. Parents spoke more openly with children about exploration dangers. Lila's classmates, now college graduates, created a scholarship fund in her name for students interested in archaeology and exploration, channeling her adventurous spirit into something positive. The community transformed a corner of Blackwood Park into Lila's Discovery Garden, featuring a bronze statue of a girl with a magnifying glass and the inscription, "For the curious child and all of us. Explore safely." The Duvals faced an impossible decision about the house that had become infamous overnight. After much reflection, they continued the renovation, but with a significant change in plans. "We're converting it into the Millfield Children's Museum," Eliza Duval announced. "A place where curiosity is encouraged and safety is paramount." The East Wing now houses exhibits on local history, while the West Wing focuses on child safety education. The kitchen where Lila was found remains untouched, sealed behind glass, a somber reminder preserved as a memorial. Dr. Harriet Wong, forensic psychologist specializing in unresolved trauma, explained how communities develop collective mythology around missing persons. When someone vanishes without explanation, we fill the void with narratives that make sense to us, often involving malevolent outsiders, she noted. The reality that Lila died by accident in a place that had already been searched challenges our need for order. The revelation provided what psychologists call ambiguous resolution, answers that close the case but open new wounds of what might have been prevented. The Morvens now wrestle with knowing their daughter was alive for some time after disappearing, Dr. Wong explained. This creates a new dimension of grief. Lila's case joins others where victims were found in overlooked locations. The teenager discovered in a gym mat, the elderly woman found behind a freezer in the store where she worked, the child who had hidden in an unused chimney during a game. These cases exemplify what investigators call expectational blindness, when searchers overlook possibilities that don't match their assumptions about what happened. "We expect abduction, flight, or foul play," explained retired FBI agent Marcus Teller. "We rarely consider that a missing person might be trapped somewhere ordinary, somewhere we've already looked but not thoroughly enough." Has this case changed how you think about missing persons? What other cases deserve a fresh investigation? Lila Morven's case fundamentally altered missing persons protocols across the region. Law enforcement agencies now employ thermal imaging during initial searches of abandoned structures, and specialized teams conduct multiple sweeps with different technologies rather than single visual inspections. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children updated their search guidelines, adding a specific section on hidden spaces with Lila's case as a reference. Police academies use the Wexler House investigation in training modules about confirmation bias and search limitations. Perhaps most significantly, Lila's story prompted the review of 27 cold cases nationwide, resulting in 4 resolutions where victims were found in previously searched locations. Children need adventure, Martha Carlisle often tells parents at these events. But they also need protection from dangers they can't yet comprehend. The tragedy lies in its simplicity, a bright, inquisitive child following her natural instincts to explore, trapped by circumstance in a forgotten space. No villain orchestrated her disappearance. No complex conspiracy hid the truth. Just a broken latch, an unsecured property, and a community that stopped looking too soon. County ordinances now require quarterly inspections of vacant buildings, with particular attention to potential access points and hidden spaces. Property owners face substantial fines for unsecured structures. Lila's legacy lives on in these changes. A curious child whose final adventure altered how we protect the explorers among us, reminding us that sometimes the answers we seek aren't hidden in darkness, but in places we thought we'd already illuminated. If this story affected you as deeply as it did me, please like, share, and subscribe. Next week, we'll explore another baffling case that remained unsolved for decades.